Hi Spidey-Fans, it's your friendly neighbourhood ultimate Spider-Man fan here, and welcome back to another one of my reading videos on my epic Marvel Spider-Man related PS4 related book, Hostile Takeover. So we'll just continue from the last time. We're on chapter 8. So let's get right into it. Let's get right into this. So is the work boring you? Theodore Payton said. Payton asked. I'm awake, Peter. I'm awake. Peter jumped and sat up at his workstation, pushing away sleep. As he began to focus, he let the humiliation wash over him. How much easier it would be, he thought, if he didn't have to conceal his life as Spider-Man. All those times his Aunt May thought he was forgetful or unreliable or flighty. Wouldn't it be refreshing to tell her he hadn't forgotten to run that errand or meet her at the bus? No, he'd been saving lives. All those times Harry thought he didn't take their friendship seriously, and now the lab administrator thought he had been out partying too late to get a good night's sleep. Even on a Sunday, Theodore Payton was wearing a suit with a bow tie pulled tight enough for the edges to slice bread. Maybe even saw through wood. He was thin and tall, and with his severely parted hair and round little eyeglasses, he looked like a 19th century school teacher. Not a nice one either, the kind of school teacher who liked to whack his students with a stick for not conjugating their Greek fast enough. Payton, like Peter, was a scientist, but he was also in charge of the lab's finances, so it could never be predicted if he was going to be wearing a lab coat over. Oh yeah, Spy fans, just while I'm turning the video, just say you're going to see screenshots here, so it's not going to be what I said yet. After this part of the video, it'll be screenshots of what I think the scene could look like. So yeah, sorry, what the thing could look like. So yeah, continuing, his suit or sitting in a corner somewhere balancing numbers on a spreadsheet, the lab's director, the man who had been Peter's mentor in science since his undergraduate days, was in charge of the real science, but Theodore ran the business end of things. He pinched the pennies and made sure he swung every last bit of work out of the underpaid employees. Peter put up with it because he loved the boss and he delivered in the science, but there were times when he wasn't sure if that was enough. I'm sure there are places you'd rather be on a Sunday I'm sure there are places you'd rather be on a sunny Sunday afternoon. Payton droned. Science may not be significant, significant glamorous for you. That's why we don't pay you to keep you here. It wasn't as if Peter was getting paid by the hour, and he put in at least 60 hours in the past week. He'd come in because there was work to be done, and he was glad to do it, at least abstractly. He did agree with Payton on one point, though, that there were places he'd rather be. The lab was like a large, more scientific version of Peter's apartment. There were workstations, mechanical equipment, computer monitors, tools, and prototypes in various stages of completion. That they were everywhere. The place had a mad scientist vibe, if ever there was one. Point taken, Theodore Peter said, I was just up late, but I'll get back to work. Trouble sleeping again? Payton asked, but there wasn't a hint of kindness. Peter had been using that excuse for as long as he'd worked in the lab. Payton wasn't buying it now, if he ever had. The thing was, Peter really didn't mind working on Sunday. New data had come in from their sympathetic natural relay tests, and numbers had to be crunched. Peter loved the work. It was exciting and it was important. the place was on the forefront of the science that would lead to sensitive, fully functional prosthetic limbs. Sorry, I can't read that word. Um, th- th- they were doing things that no one had ever done before. Things that would make a difference for millions of people. The applications for wounded veterans alone would be staggering. Being Spider-Man was important, but this was different. Peter had never asked for his amazing abilities. He'd never yearned to be a costume crime fighter. He'd always wanted to be a scientist, though sure, with great power there must also come great responsibility. But wasn't an aptitude for science a great power? Didn't he have a responsibility to pursue his abilities here as vigorously as he did on the street? He loved being Spider-Man. Most of the time, in a way, Peter never felt more liberated than when he was in that suit. Lately, though, he'd begun to worry that being a web slinger wasn't just part of his life, but getting in the way of his life. He spent so much of his time fighting bad guys, and those bad guys always seemed to come back. Of course, he'd saved a lot of lives, but if he'd stayed home and watched television last night, Andy would still be alive. What about the people who suffered when nutcases like Electro or the Scorpion or the Shocker came gunning for him? Was Spider-Man a deterror or a magnet for the crazies being by being out there? Was he making things worse? If you're not up to the task, Peyton said, bringing him back down to earth. I could replace you with someone who's willing to dedicate their time to this important work. There's no need to dip into the endless pool of scientific slave labour, Peter said. Give me half an hour and I'll have the data all ready. I'll have the data ready. 30 minutes later, with the work done, Peter walked into Peyton's office and found him reviewing computer models that represented artificial neural pathways. The results have been uploaded, Peter told him. Peyton nodded and then opened a new file on his computer. His slender fingers began flying across the keyboard as he located the data Peter had generated and integrated it with the model he was running. Peter watched as animated arms appeared on the screen, then attached themselves to animated stumps. Flowing lights representing the transfer of data from the subject's brain to the artificial limbs began to flow down the arms and back again. A few more keystrokes and the hands clenched and unclenched. Sorry, yeah, I think I said that right. You seem to have managed to get the job done, Peyton said. I hope your nap time wasn't too severely inconvenienced. The boss's work is amazing, Peter said. He hardly even heard Peyton's snide comments anymore. This is exciting stuff. Yes, Peyton agreed. I have to admit, you contribute a great deal to the effect, Parker. Your mind is first rate. You know, I have no complaints about your abilities. It's your efforts I find wanting. You must remember you must remember that we are serving a higher cause here, and I'd hate to see sloppy work habits get in the way. You truly are your own worst enemy. Given the kinds of enemies he'd made over the years, Peter wished this were true. He'd rather face himself than the Rhino pretty much every day, pretty much any day. Point taken, Ted. My name is Theodore, as you well know, and your glib responses will not insulate you from the larger point. Anyone else would have been gone a long time ago, but the director likes you and you add value when you make an honest effort. Peter had been so caught up in watching the computer models on the screen and ignoring Peyton that he hadn't noticed that someone else had entered the lab. He wished, not for the first time, that his spider sense would tangle for embarrassing situations as well as danger, because he felt pretty sure that this attractive young woman who had heard him getting chewed out. Ah, excellent, Peyton said when he spotted the woman. Peter, this is the new undergraduate assistant, Annika Adhikari. Sorry, I can't do that. Hang on. Annika Al Hickory. She is among other things. I don't know here, just one. Among other things, technically competent, and she will provide assistance for our data analyst. Annika, this is Peter Parker, former undergraduate assistant, now employee. You make it sound so exciting, Peter said. Hi, she said, grinning non-commentally. Peyton, as usual, was oblivious to the awkwardness of the moment. Peter, please show Annika around, he suggested. Get her familiar with the lab and maybe have her start collating the test results from the models I just ran. That should help bring her up to speed. The sooner we can put her to productive use, the better. Will do, Peter said. He was just going to have to pretend he didn't notice how insanely pretty she was. Not that she was trying. Her long dark hair was tied in a loose ponytail. She wore old jeans, and in the category of things that definitely didn't help, a faded Spider-Man t-shirt. No matter how rumbled she had managed to make herself, it didn't do much to conceal those enormous brown eyes and heart-shaped face that seemed to radiate kindness. Sorry, I heard you get raked off the coals, she told him as they walked away out from the office. I mean, I heard it, and you know I heard it. So it's best to get your embarrassment out in the open, right? And you're in the science. You say, Peter counted. She laughed. You got me. I just hate awkward situations. I know the subject's lead scientist thinks highly of you, but that guy, Theodore Payton, Peter said, but more like Payton. Am I right? But that's the best you can do. Hey, I'm warming up here, he replied. He's actually not a terrible guy, but he lives to balance budgets and squeeze every last drop out of our resources. Sometimes I want to strangle him, but the fact is we'd have a hard time keeping the lights on him. A hard time keeping the lights on without him. And he thinks you're a slacker. She said with an easy grin of sorry about that, Spidey-Fans. Lost my place now. But the fact, and he thinks you're a slacker, she said, with an easy grin. Got it. Now let's see the cool stuff it is. Peter agreed as he began to show her around the lab. It's quiet like being Sunday and all, but more often than not, a lot of action happens at night and on the weekends. I'll give you my number in case you need to reach me then. The boss pretty much never goes home, never sleeps, and never stops working. He's relentless, which is great and scary and intimidating. If you're here, it's because you're super smart. But when he starts talking, you're going to feel like he made a mistake and you're out of your league. You resist this feeling. It's a rite of passage. Besides, unlike Peyton, he's really nice and he doesn't do it to make you feel small. Believe me, I'm ready to be humbled. She said, I've read his papers on theoretical okay, I don't know what the heck that word says. Photography, I don't know. I still can't believe I got the internship. Where do you go to school? Empire University, she said. My alma mater, Peter told her. Cool t-shirt, by the way. I'm wearing it. Ironically, she said, scientists are the real superheroes. They stand among them, yes, Peter replied. Anyhow, that's the kitchen in there. Don't eat the frozen granola bars. Peyton loves them for some reason, and he always knows exactly how many there are supposed to be in there. Supposed to be there. Not much of a chance, but thanks for the heads up. Once they'd finished the tour of the lab, Peter sat her down at a workstation, set her up with a login and password, and showed her the files on which she was going to work. We'll start with something basic, he said. Nothing you do today is going to challenge you, but it'll help get you familiar with the terms of the work, which will make it easier for you to dive into the good stuff. Keep that in mind when you're thinking about all the better things you could be doing with us Sunday afternoon. If I wasn't here, I'd be studying. She said that's life in the city. She paused for an awkward moment. How about you? Do you anything fun last night? Hot date? This was the time to mention MJ. That would be the right thing, but it would also be a little awkward because they both knew she was fishing and he didn't want to shut her down. Just hung out with a friend. There'd be plenty of time to tell her a story later. And that's it, Spidey-Fans. That's on to chapter 9 with MJ. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, and hope you enjoyed this video, and stay tuned for all of my next epic Spidey videos as well. It's your friendly neighbourhood, the ultimate Spidey fan, over and out. Thwap.